as a society, we have crossed the bridge. That's not just myself, that I've gone from Silicon Valley to Europe and Norway, where I currently live, but we've come into a whole new paradigm, a paradigm that is phenomenally different than ever before. Which is why when I, as a board member, go into some of the meetings that I go into and into our clients, I'm very confused at why and how so many people continue to do things in the same way. I would suggest, and a lot of studies that I've seen show that despite the growth of AI, 80 to 90% of boards are still using board packages. They're still talking about data. They're still trying to look at KPIs in old ways. I believe that's because of three factors. The first is many board members do not understand what is AI and technology and what can it do. Number two is fear, because when we don't understand something, we become afraid of it. And number three is, if we're all honest, we as humans have gone through a lot over the last 4 years. We've dealt with pandemics, change in the concept of work. We've dealt with economic challenge, war, etc. We as people have won the prize of change and future readiness. And since 2020, globally, we have digitalized 3,000% faster than anybody ever anticipated. Think about that, how much we have changed. And as we have shifted our lives into a world of digital, we as people have all contributed significantly to the vast data lake within Google, within Amazon, within Apple, within Facebook. And as those data lakes have expanded, the brilliant scientists of data analysis, the brilliant machine learning experts, they have leveraged that data to create very powerful, very real, very much like our behavior, large language models. This is what led to the launch of ChatGPT, which was only, 16, 17 months ago, that sparked a whole paradigm shift, which I believe was due to the power of the data, as well as the fact that we as people were ready for new ways to do things. We were tired. We were looking for tools that were easy to use. Help me tackle this difficult document I need to write or picture I need to create. That's what drove adoption so quickly. And as the adoption grew, it became apparent that the power of AI required advanced compute power. That led to growth of the GPUs within NVIDIA, more startups springing up on how do we leverage, how do we build more power into the technology. It has also led to the development, much faster than ever expected, of new high-performance computing models, such as quantum computing. Everything that we do, everything that we think about, everything we hear from Google and OpenAI today is all based on classical compute power. I's and O's, data in, data out on semiconductors. And the power of the AI and the algorithms is causing those classical computers some challenges. That's why we hear that AI is going to create a massive energy problem. It's going to suck all the water on the planet. It's because we're using advanced technology on an old classical system. Quantum computing, which is built based upon quantum physics and doesn't use I's and O's or semiconductors, but uses qubits in a completely different way, is 100,000 times faster, which means it will not require the level of power, or the level of resources that our classical systems will require. And using a quantum computer, one could take the entire Library of Congress and within moments have it dissected, have it organized, have it analyzed, and create patterns from it. This is predicted from a Silicon Valley viewpoint to become real in another 5 to 10 years. It's being used today in Google, Amazon, Microsoft, in a research environment. But with the speed at which technology is evolving, it is moving faster and faster, exponentially towards society. For us, it leaves a question. Do you believe and feel that the advancement of technology, AI, quantum, etc., is going to be the destruction of society as we know it? I find a lot of people, especially above the age 50 or so, tend to look at this with fear, saying it's the end of the world we know. And I would agree that it is the end of the world that we've known, but it can be the beginning of a much better world, because we can leverage the technology to quickly, efficiently, and effectively understand how we can improve the environment, allow us to work in completely different ways where we don't have to commute into offices, where we don't have to use airplanes to go for meetings. It opens a whole new way of moving forward. So as a corporate leader, advisor, and board member, I encourage people to lean in, to look at the positive, and begin to understand, what does all of this mean? And I'm very happy to see that in a lot of the studies that are coming out, the majority of CEOs around the world are indeed saying, at least, yes, AI as a beginning is critical to our business. We can't avoid it. And they are investing. The last study I saw said 250% increase in investment in technology. Where the struggle is how do we actually use the technology? How do we understand it enough to work with it? Those that are exploring and experimenting are seeing very direct improvements. Not only improvements in productivity, i.e. using tech to do things that take a long time, but improvements in performance. Because let's face it, there are some things, repetitive tasks, quality assurance, looking for any small intricacy that is wrong. Those are probably better done by technology than by people. As people, we get distracted. We like to create. Those repetitive things should be allocated to technology. And improvement in quality, because technology is better at defining and seeing issues and potentially presenting them in the future. And it's paying off in the bottom line revenue. And that's both through operational improvements, but it's also through revenue improvements. If those customer service people can actually increase sales, that's new revenue. So there are opportunities to grow from technology, but it starts with understanding. And the understanding is just simply beginning to understand, what is AI? There is generative AI, which is what's gotten a lot of the buzz, that can do everything from writing a draft of a report. And I personally believe if you generate something in a chat GPT or a Bing, that is the draft. It's then up to humans to discern where are the mistakes, to copy edit, to customize, to personalize, so that it's a human result based upon what technology created. Or creation of photos. Maybe I'm the only one, but I've been known to spend 5 hours and multiple hundreds of dollars trying to get that perfect picture to demonstrate something in a report. That's craziness today. Why not use Firefly? Why not use Dolly with the right clear prompts, the right regeneration, the right human aspect of what it comes up with? I can have that photo in 5 minutes. So that's the generative. That's step one. Step two, where we get a lot more power, is predictive AI. AI can look through data and find trends, find patterns, and then based upon those trends, make predictions that we as humans can go back and look at and say, well, that doesn't make sense based on these factors that I know from experience. Regenerate. This is being used in areas such as pharmaceuticals to predict the new formulations and how they will interact with different DNAs. What will be the impact to certain types of people, whether it's by race, by age, based on predictive AI. And thirdly, a wide ranging field is being invested in of embedded AI, combining artificial intelligence with robotics, possibly with autonomy, possibly voice recognition, to create entities that can actually physically do things. Today, there's already robots that can make coffee, that can clean up the kitchen after dinner. In the future, there will be robotics that can build houses, can move things physically, all based on the intelligence of AI with human prompting. So AI, all forms, is a way of co-piloting. It can do the things that we're either not so good at, or let's face it, cleaning the kitchen is not something, at least I really want to do. So why not have the technology to do it? In the corporate world, we see that the vast majority of companies, the first level of utilization is generative AI to increase productivity. If you have clients or companies you're on the board of who say, we do not allow AI in our organization, I am fairly certain that their people that are working in that company are widely using AI. Somewhere between 70 to 90% of people that are in roles where they're creating documents, they're writing materials, they're creating images, they're coding, they're using some form of generative AI. I would recommend that the organization takes away that requirement to not use, because people will still access, but educates people on how to use generative AI effectively and responsibly, not uploading sensitive information into a tool, being discerning of what comes out, and thinking about how they use it. The second level of utilization is to really increase the effectiveness across the company, tracking information such as when is a performance review up to date, salespeople that always hated entering information into CRMs no longer have to. The call is recorded in Zoom or Teams. The information is immediately updated in the CRM. Automating processes so that people no longer have to go into dangerous areas, such as in mining, such as in oil platforms, such as in undersea exploration. Leveraging the technology so the people can stay in the office using a digital twin with AI to monitor what's happening in those environments and make changes. And ideally, using the predictive nature to know what needs to happen, such as predicting when a oil valve is going to break based upon waves, based upon timing, based upon weather conditions, predicting that, and then allowing either the person or the technology to change it. The third level, the organizations that are gaining the greatest advantage are actually leaning in to leverage technologies such as AI to build new solutions. One of our clients is a service firm, and they've done a lot of work around public policy. So they are leveraging an AI, proven AI tool that does predictive analysis to analyze companies' business strategy and the impact on that strategy of different geopolitical situations. If this party gets elected in this country, if this law is passed, this is how that might impact this organization. They're leveraging that as the base tool to get into new clients that they have an opportunity then to sell and to provide much deeper human services. And the important part of technology is it frees us as people to do what we do best, which is the human analysis. If this is what the tool predicted, this is what we have experienced in the past. This is how we would expect and recommend you move forward. Another company that's in the insurance market, they used to have 100 customer service people that did nothing but review and process claims. That process that used to take anywhere from 2 to 10 weeks per claim that came in, that's done in seconds now by AI, allowing that company, Vanamida, to retrain those 100 agents into salespeople. Yes, your car was damaged and here's what we provided you. Now what do you need for your boat, for your home, other areas? Allowing the people to do what we do best. And this is across organizations that are using all three, generative, predictive, and embedded AI, to do more within the organization to improve the health of people and the satisfaction of people. So I believe AI as the beginning of technology is the start of creating that new world where we can better leverage humans. And it's not just AI. It is the embeddedness, it is the autonomy, it is running on faster systems. It is allowing the digital twins so that people are no longer in those difficult environments. And it's allowing things like virtual reality that will allow for people to learn, people to experience, people to be part of a board before they get on the board and experience what it's like to make sure it's the right thing for you. In the next 5 years, I believe, and a lot of my Silicon Valley colleagues continue to say 100%, these technologies will be part of our world. So we cannot shrink away from it, but we need to understand it. And that's part of the study that I led that we just completed about a month ago of about 25 companies, some of which you see here, global companies, that we looked very closely and we talked to the C-level in these organizations about their approach in technology. How are they identifying what is the right tech, selecting, implementing, exploring what's working, what's not, and then building on top. And we found that there's really 3 key factors to success with advanced technology, AI being one, things like robotics, autonomy, digital twins being others. Firstly, it starts with understanding a problem or defining a new opportunity for which you want to use tech. It's not technology for technology's sake. It's not, let's open up Chat GPT for everybody to create everything. It's starting small. Start with one real, ideally customer-facing problem that you need to solve, that you've tried other tools, you've tried other paths, but it's still a problem. Or it's possibly a new opportunity, like the one that says, let's use the AI tool to create a new service to analyze strategy against geopolitical risk. Whole new opportunity. You would have no way to do that without it. So start with identifying something that is real, and then open up the mind using a structured innovation process, not just putting it out to everybody in the organization, but open the mind to how can we solve this problem with advanced technology, such as AI. So once you've started with the problem, how do we get into new accounts and analyze business strategy differently? Hackathons work well. And that doesn't have to be the traditional tech hackathon of people come together and they start coding. It can be bringing people together in an open workshop session. It can be a diverse audience, customers, partners, even competitors. Bring as many ideas to the table. Put up the problem. Here's what we're trying to solve. What might be the tools? What have you used? What have you tried? This is a whole new world, and no one person or one organization or one expert has all of the answers. So opening up the question and the problem to as many people as possible is a perfect start. Once you've narrowed down, we believe we want to use predictive AI, and we believe we want to use some form of a large language model. And we want to explore how we could use virtual reality to try playing this out. Once you've identified those things, according to these 25 companies, you go to a structured innovation process. And many of these companies we looked at have an official innovation board, meaning outside of the hierarchical structure of the chart of people, there are people that have been identified that have different viewpoints. There's somebody from IT. There's somebody from finance. There's somebody from HR. There's somebody from innovation or marketing or customer service that brings a diverse view on how can we effectively select the right technology and implement it to solve this big problem. And in a number of companies, the innovation boards meet weekly. The owner of the problem to be solved comes in front of the board, presents the issue, presents the options, and leaves that meeting with either a, yep, we want to go forward with this type of technology, or we want to go forward, but we haven't yet figured out the right technology, go do another hackathon, or a no. Once they've figured out, once they've gotten the yes, go forward with technology, there's a very structured way that within 1 to 2 weeks, that person with a problem comes and says, we've explored using Firefly, we've explored using Google, we've explored using this tool, and now we want to move forward. And within a 6-week period, each of those steps from should we do it, what should we use, which should we use, and how should we begin is completed. such that within 6 weeks, they have, on a small scale, not big, but on a small pilot scale, a minimum viable product. They have defined and tested whether an AI tool can help to solve this problem. Very defined, very structured, small steps in a repetitive but fast cycle. Because if it goes longer than 3 to 6 weeks, the technology has changed and you have to start all over again. So start small, move quickly. And very importantly, find ways that you can bring people together in learning labs to learn from each other on how they're using the technology and what it's contributing. This is a completely new world, and we as a society are co-creating what this future is going to look like. Just like in companies, they're co-creating solutions to these challenges. And the most important part is empowering people to explore together. Keeping in mind that most people in organizations are using some form of AI and technology. Why not open the discussion, encourage them to use it responsibly, thinking about what they're asking, how they're asking, and what they're doing with the results, but doing it together. And like with all change, celebrating the wins. Every small step is a reason to celebrate. You want to share work, but it's good and very powerful to celebrate each learning along the way. So our role as board members, I believe, is firstly to help in educating others on the board, educating people in our companies that we're supporting on what is AI, what is advanced tech. There's tons of information out there. Every day there's a new development. There's tools like TLDR, which is a newsletter that comes daily of the latest developments. There's areas such as TechCrunch, CB Insights, that you can at least have a view of what's happening in the world. When you see technology or applications or use cases that you believe can apply to the companies you're working with, provide them to them. Open the ideas, because the fear that we have, the desire to shrink away, often comes from not understanding. So as board members, we should empower people to move forward, lean in, explore, and try. And we should learn. We should begin using the tools ourselves. If you're not already actively using things like a ChatGPT or a Firefly or all of the vast array of technologies that are out there. Even if you're not actively doing so, within the Microsoft applications, within the Zoom, the technology is there. So learn about it and be transparent. If there's one big mistake I see people making in companies with technology and AI, it's not being open about how you're using it. If somebody creates a beautiful report and sends it off to the board, and they've created it in technology, they need to say, I use technology to build the basis of this, and then I revised it so that you're aware, it's transparent. And people that are leveraging these tools must be very, very discerning in reviewing what they come up with. This is a new world, and there aren't yet the level of standards and requirements and quality checks that we might be expecting in the tools. So they will make mistakes. So if anything, AI requires us to think even more maybe do less, but think more and be very careful in what we're utilizing and how we're utilizing it. And in supporting our clients to encourage them to build an open, transparent AI ethics board. We can't hide away from it. It's there. Let's define the rules for engagement, what you can and cannot upload into tools for technology, how you need to check and review and revise based upon what technology provides. What is possible and feasible to use for the board, for the executives, for customers. Set those regulations. And we as the board members need to ensure that our clients are following those rules. So it is a new world. I can understand being afraid, but it's time to jump in and learn. And I do believe that we as board members can do so and encourage others with what I call as a framework, peace. It starts with using technology, but based on defining the problem. It's not tech for tech's sake. It's defining a challenge. And once you have that challenge, going out and exploring with as many conversations as possible, what might be the right tool that we can use to solve this problem. And once you have an idea of maybe this could work, it's worked for others, then take action. Try it. You can't learn AI from a book. You can learn about AI, but you're going to learn it by using it. So just try it in small increments and collaborate. We are co-creating. So leverage each other. Build your own learning labs to explore. I'm going to try this tool. You're going to try that one. Let's come together and see which worked. And in doing so, we begin to empower those around us, those in our companies, those in society. We begin to empower people to lean in, try, leverage, benefit from technology one small step at a time. Because the world is changing extremely rapidly. So I would encourage all of you after this session to go look at a few tools. Think about problems that you are facing. Think about things that you really don't want to do tomorrow in your job. Work at a tool help you. And let's continue the dialogue.